Yo, what's up, guys? This is Shadow Node TA. Welcome to my channel. This is my first video. I appreciate you guys coming by and watching. If there's any technical issues, drop something in the comments. If there's any sound problems or visual problems, I had a couple little bugs earlier, but I just want to make sure that they're dialed. So if you have a problem, you can't hear anything or can't see, just drop something in the comments and I'll have it figured out for the next video. Today we're just going to go over a couple charts. We'll talk about where I think price is going and my overall thoughts on the markets. I think the market looks pretty good right now, especially over the last 2 months. Stocks and commodities have just been where it's at. Not so much crypto, but we got this bump in the last week with the Trump sending Delta Force into Venezuela to snatch up Morado, which was an absolute power move by him and asserts a lot of dominance in the West, making them look very strong. So we got that bump, obviously sent oil and a few other commodities up, minerals, resources. Dow Industrial has obviously got a boost from that, I believe. We're just going to go over the 1 month chart here on Bitcoin. Then we'll work our way through Ethereum and Solana. We'll finish there. Like I said, we'll keep things short. There's a lot of people right now on X and online screaming for crazy lows in crypto right now and in the markets in general. And generally when the X gets too bearish, I tend to lean the other side. But as traders, we have to understand you have to come into the markets with a plan and try and extract money where you can and where the market will give it to you. You can never get married to one direction. You know, there's perma bulls, perma bears, and it generally doesn't go well for them. You need to be able to adapt and trade a different narrative if the situation starts to change. But it depends what type of trader you are. You know, if you're a long-term positional trader, you're just buying spot and holding stocks long-term, yeah, you just buy dips and hold. That's it. You don't really have to worry as much. But for swing traders and leverage traders, especially in crypto, you can never get married to one narrative. I think you need to be able to adapt and flip bearish, you need to flip bearish, or flip bullish, you need to flip bullish. So with that said, there's a lot of people calling for price to come low right now. A lot of people think we're probably going to come down to this level here, maybe 64K. A lot of people are saying 55K, 42K, which would be down here. But I don't think we come down there this year. That's not my belief that we see like 48K or 42 or 38. I'm not saying it can't go down there. That's just like saying price can't go to 150 or 200K Bitcoin. Can, just like it could come down to 48K. I don't think it's going to come down there personally. I do think that we are gearing up for a little bit of a pump here in crypto. Even though Market Cypher is showing a monthly red X, you've got this 50 EMA here at the 64, let's call it 65K level on the monthly chart for Bitcoin here, which means it could easily drop down and tap that as support, right? If you go online and you look at the liquidation heat map and the order book, there are a lot of liquidations and bids down here at 69K, 64K, 65, 72. It's kind of all stacked out throughout there. So we could drop into this area and liquidate people and fill some of the bids down here to potentially drive price higher, right? This other lower box here, this is the one where we're at 49K, 42K. And the interesting part about this, though, is if you drag it all the way over here, this has always been a key level of support or resistance. So we did bottom out here in August of 2024. We tapped right there. So y'all can see it a bit better. Now, let's come back over here to 2021. We first came up and we almost tapped that box in January 2021. Pulled back a little bit, then we broke through, came above it, crashed through it down out to what is that, July 2021, 28K. We popped back up through here, a little bit of resistance there, broke through, and then, of course, right back down into the box. Resistance broke down, came back up, and then eventually initiated the huge breakdown to the bottom of the FTX crash and that bear market in 2022 to 15K. So now, if you go back over here on the way back up from the bottom of the bear market, pushed all the way up, and eventually we finally pierced this box here at 42K, came in, consolidated a little bit, pushed back down to about 39K, and then we shot up through out of the box 74K in March, or sorry, what was that? Yeah, March of 2024, before eventually breaking down to this bottom of August 2024, before working our way up to the Trump pump in November and shooting up to 109K. And then we came back down to this area here, bottomed out at 76K. And it's the same thing with this box here. You drag it all the way over. We'll just bring it right here. Again, acting as resistance here of November 2021, right before the FTX crash. It tapped this area, pushed back down, popped up, resistance here, and then ended up breaking down to the bottom, right? And if you check over here, resistance, 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 until we pushed down to the bottom of August 24. And then we had to break back up into the zone. And then even again here, you're looking at 78K. That's been a major level of resistance. And then you pierce the box a little bit here. We bottomed out in April of 2025. So these two zones are key levels and areas of interest where there's lots of liquidity. The market keeps bringing price back down to there. My case right now, if we dump lower, I do think it will probably be this area, 78 to 69K range. As I was just saying, this box is a very big area of interest. So that would be where I would think we would drop to. And if we fall through that, we may tap to 64K, right at the 50 EMA. Like I said, though, I'm leaning more on the bullish side short term. I do believe that we are going to get a bit of movement here. And I think we're probably going to come up to about 103, 105K. So open up the channel a bit. So when you're looking at the weekly, you see a little bit more here. This 94K area has been a very key level of support resistance. It flirts with it every time before it breaks down or goes back up. Breaks down here again, tapped it again. We just haven't been able to get above 94K. Once we close above 94K, I believe we're going to make a little bit push up towards 96. That would be kind of the next level before we push into this box right here and try and take out 103, 105K. Even comes up to about 106K. There's a lot of liquidity and a lot of short liquidations up there. So what I think could potentially happen is that we could push up to this 103, 105 range, like I was saying, because of the liquidations that are up there. Then there's a potential for a pullback from there if we don't have enough momentum to go higher to potentially take out 120. Now, this could be your potential bear flag forming. Sweep up, grab liquidity. You can call this a bit of a bear flag. Pop that right here. And boom, that basically brings you down to 64K, or we'll kind of bring you into this box here where I think that the bottom will probably be around 78, 69K. So that is something to watch. But I do believe that we probably sweep this liquidity zone here. So if we jump back to the monthly here, I do think overall that in the short term, maybe the next few weeks of January here, the start of Q1, I do think we were going to make that push for about 105K and then potentially reject there and come back and take out some of the liquidity in this zone and maybe test that monthly 50 EMA at 65K there, 64. Overall on the year though, I am still bullish on crypto, more so Bitcoin. I do think that the 4-year cycle is potentially broken. And if it is, my guess would be topside Bitcoin prediction by the end of the year, somewhere around 160, 170K. That would be my, I think, topside before we have a major pullback. Which again, that could potentially leave something back down to 64K or the 48K. But that's my thesis on Bitcoin for the year. And prediction, that would be my top, I think 160K, 170K, something like that. And then, yeah, bottom 64K at the low. Mirror on the wall, which is the biggest shitcoin of them all? That would be Ethereum. The only coin in 2025 that did not put in a new high, but yet Tom Lee is still bidding the crap out of it. So is this the year that Ethereum puts in a new high, 2026? Did we see it happen? I do believe Ethereum could come and put a new all-time high this year. To give Tom Lee credit on his bull thesis, he did call the markets pretty accurately last year. Not everyone is right all the time. I do think ETH is a bit of a shitcoin, but it does trade very well, especially with leverage. Now, these boxes here, similar to the last chart with Bitcoin, I put them in areas of interest, key levels of support, resistance, and liquidity zones. This big one on the bottom, I don't think price will come down here in this 1300 range to about 600. I don't think we see anything in there. But if we focus on the areas of support resistance in there, we did put in a bottom here. We did put the bottom here. So those are a couple of key areas where we bottomed. If you go over this middle box here of this range where we did bottom, look through it, 2500 to 1700, we ended up bottoming down here at 1300, which basically topped the top of this box. And again, the 2022 bottom, we broke into this box down here and pushed our way back up. But you can see that this is kind of a key area of support resistance where price is broken out of or either come back to. And if we go up to the middle box, there's resistance through here, rejection, resistance pierces the box a little bit and then comes back down and then breaks above it. And then we can see around here from about 2024 to November 2024, the Trump pump, it was testing this area of resistance before pushing up. And then again, yet finally breaking back down through here and putting in a bottom. Now, short term here with Ethereum in the rest of Q1 and probably by the end of January, if everything else catches a pump here, I do think Ethereum will come up into this little box here and take out some of the liquidity, probably coming into about 3,900 and potentially rejecting if we have a bigger pullback with the rest of the majors in crypto. Bitcoin drops, then we can maybe see Ethereum come back down to this 50 EMA, the 2,500, and break below and come into this box here and eat up some more liquidity. But if we push up into this box and we're riding momentum and we really do catch a big pump in Q1 here, and it breaks above that 4,500, and tries to put a new all-time high, I do think that this would be the next level for Ethereum. This 5400, 8200 area, call 5K, 8K. I think it probably stops out somewhere around 7K. We test that and then maybe pull back down into this box. Maybe retest 3900 before trying to break higher. Ultimate bull case this year for Ethereum off the monthly here, but we could dive into the weekly for a little bit as well too. But a lot of people, what's Tom Lee saying? Is he saying 20,000, something like that? I don't know if it'll be 20,000, but maybe if we catch a big pump, maybe 11K, 15K or something. But I'm going to start low and keep it within the near future. If we potentially catch a bigger bid and price continues higher, this would be my area of interest here, this 5K to 8K range. Now, if we jump into the weekly here, you see a little bit more of the current price action. Again, bottom. This is the 2022 bottom. A lot of consolidation, just kind of bouncing between these liquidity zones right here, these support resistance levels in the boxes. Broke up during the Trump bomb. Back down, tested all through here. Up. Down after Trump bomb. And then we have bottomed of April 2025, 1300. Push back up. Broke below. And then push back up again, and we've rejected off this 4,800 where it put in its stop. And again, here you could say this is a potential bear flag forming. If you open this up a little bit more. And again, if we were to draw out in a little bear flag on here, we could predict that price would potentially come lower if this was a bear flag and plays out. Again, anything can happen. We draw this out, breathe through. Where would this potentially drop down to? Right somewhere into the box. Almost right back down here, 21.75. Kind of lining up with these wicks right here. So that is a potential if price drops. I personally do not think price is going to drop down to these levels, 700, 800, 600, 1100. Unless there's some sort of major crash, black swan in the markets, that would mean Bitcoin coming lower than 60K. But I just don't see that happening. So if that bear flag was to play out, we could potentially come down into this zone here, this middle box again. I don't think we'll come down into this area here, the 800, 600, 700 range. We're back down to the 1300. I think we would need a major black swan to come and test this area, and that would be Bitcoin probably going to like the 50s or 48K or something. And I just don't think that that happens, but it potentially could. I'm not ruling it out. I just don't believe that's going to happen. So right now with Ethereum, we definitely want to break past this 3,900 level and close above there to hope that we have potential to continue higher and break past this 4,000 and come into all-time highs in this range here between 5K and 8K. But I'm going to call it somewhere around 7K. That would be my guess where this price comes into. And if you even jump back to the monthly here, you want to draw a little bit of a spider line. I'd put one right here, run it across these. And you can see a bit of the support here. Again, it kind of comes to this box. This whole middle box is a support resistance area. Bounces here, pushes up, breaks below the spider line there, taps support, pushes back up. Overall, off the monthly, I would say my bull case for Ethereum, 11K, But maybe higher, 15K, but I would go with 11K, somewhere around there. But I'm more definitely looking in the shorter term. If we do catch a big pump, I think that 8K, 7K area is probably where we could see Ethereum. It puts in a new all-time high. All right, guys, moving over to the monthly chart here on Solana, the king of the trenches. Overall, Solana has looked good the past few days. It's been moving fairly nicely. Been a good coin to trade with leverage. With the monthly time frame here, if we're looking at it, these boxes again are our areas of interest. This level that we just currently bounced off, the middle one here, 105, 116. We came down and tapped the top of it. Our Christmas bottom was basically 116. But you can see this has been a key area of interest that always wicks into it, sweeps liquidity in this zone. It hasn't really fully come back down since breaking below in the 2022 bear market where we came down here. So we bottomed at 95K in April 25. So if we mark that off as an area of interest. Also bounced off the monthly 50 EMA. And 116, we'll put one over here. Again, also touching the monthly 50 EMA. If we want to run a spotter line to that as well too, you can see that it basically follows support from the 2022 bottom. Hasn't broken below the spider line support, tapped it every time. It's basically followed this spider line from 2022 bear market bottom, touch support each time, and basically following the 50 EMA. So if we were to break below this trend and break the area of interest here, these key levels, 105, worst case scenario for Solana, we probably come down to here, which would be that $80 area, maybe come down to $70. I don't think any lower than that, but anything can happen. Now, if we come back up to the top box here, this is a big area of interest where we've been constantly coming back into 220 to about 166. 166 has always been this area of interest for Solana. You can see it constantly breaks into the box throughout here, wicks it a few times. Anytime we break below, we came back down and tested the smaller box here. So right now, I believe that Solana needs to push above this 146 level here that we have marked off. That's kind of like a key level right now. If we can close above 146 on Solana, I think there's a good chance that we'll push up to 166 and then maybe try and take out this other area of interest here and sweep liquidity at about 177, 180, which 180 has been another big level on Solana for a while. That would be a good area potentially for a pullback. And if we were to pull back from here, I would think that we would come back down and maybe test this monthly 50 EMA back down to 116. Worst case scenario, we break below the box. If we keep riding momentum and break through 180 in Q1, we're going into Q2 and try and test the top again here of this box, 220. If we can break out of that and keep rallying, my new all-time high area for Solana will probably be somewhere around here, looking at 321, 369. I know a lot of people would be saying maybe 420 as well too, that meme level for Solana. That could be a potential, but I'm going to stick right around here if we catch a big pump, 321, 369. I think that's an area where we could come into. Just jumping over to the weekly chart in Solana, open it up a little bit more. Again, we were looking at these bottoms, areas of interest, bounced off the monthly 50 EMA, following the spider line support. See Solana is trying to push up now and break above the 513 EMA. And that 50 EMA is sitting just basically at the bottom of this middle box here, area of interest, key levels 166. So it pierced into the box. I think the first rejection point would potentially be this 177, 180 area. Sweep out some of the liquidity from here, and then maybe we'd have a potential rejection, break back below, hopefully find support at 146. If we didn't, I would assume that we'd come back down and test this box around here, maybe hit that 105 level. But you'd be catching it and break up in here for a bull case, and then the end of that 220, and open a big rally to come hit potential MIs. So overall, bull case scenario for Solana this year, I think potentially we come somewhere up into here, at least 320 to what the 369 area. Worst case scenario, I think we maybe break down here and come down to $80. But 105 would be a pretty solid bottom the way things are looking right now. Again, guys, thank you for coming by and watching the video, checking out my channel. I think there was a few technical issues here with some of the audio and a bit of lag on the video side of things. Please drop a comment if that was an issue for you and it was really affecting the video. I need to try and get those dialed for the next one. I'll make sure I sort that out. But I appreciate you guys coming by. If you like the video, like, subscribe. I'm going to try and keep these things consistent and hopefully be putting out about 3 videos a week.